Alright, so right now I'm going to be talking a little bit about natural rights in response to Rationality Rules video on libertarianism, which I just saw even though I released it a few days ago. But anyways, my opinion of natural rights is that we all as humans have certain natural qualities and attributes that are just intrinsic to our functioning. We have emotions, beliefs, opinions, urges that basically are naturally occurring, things that are naturally occurring. Those things, I believe, and that we have rights to those things. Now, of course, people might disagree with that. Now, of course, the only way you can legislate, you can actually guarantee these things is in a social contract, but by virtue of natural, we actually do have, you can think about these things. Without a social contract, oh yeah, I have thoughts of what I would like to happen. Without a social contract, I can be sad, do that. Now, without a social contract, without a social contract, you can, you can have urges also. That was one of the, I made a previous video, but I think I forgot to at least specifically address some of the criticisms Steven listed in his video that I might want to just say for, in case he delivers like a exception, because I mean it's in my head, but I didn't necessarily say it on camera. But yeah, things that, and then when you include the social contract to bring a lot more security and stability into people's everyday lives, these are things that, they shouldn't be criminalized, like the expression of this, and though to some extent, like with urges, depending on how you define expressing urges, I mean, because like there's sexual urges, and so of course if you define expressing that kind of an urge, it could be saying rape is an inalienable right, which it isn't, but merely having that urge is an inalienable right. Expressing it through saying you want to, or maybe through willing participants expressing it through different mediums, through different ways. I would consider that to some extent right that shouldn't be alienated. And other things that kind of that technically physically can be alienated by other people, but really I think under no circumstance should they ever be alienated. Does any other person have any right to alienate your right to this thing while at the same time keeping theirs? Now, of course, I think to some extent, now the expressing your sexual urges, I mean, the example I gave of expressing that, I think there's specific examples, there's certain ways of expressing them that you could necessarily, through at least the way we currently enforce crimes in society, those methods could be alienated because of logistics. I mean, how are you gonna do certain participate in certain mediums of expression if you're sitting in a jail cell? and plus what things do you have at your disposal. But like, let's say, yeah, like urges, expressing them, but merely having them shouldn't be criminalized. Talking about them surely, and then expressing emotions. Now, anger and other stuff to some extent means acting out violently, but merely expressing the emotion non-violently shouldn't be criminalized, and so forth. So there are outward things that definitely I think can be alienated, but shouldn't under really any circumstance until they cross the line into, but merely the having of these, the expressing of these rights shouldn't be alienated until they cross the boundary of not necessarily the physical, the thought crime realm and enter into the physical definitive action realm. Like, say, oh, you hit someone in the middle of a crowded theater. Well, even though you're angry at them, that would cross the line from basically the natural rights to the criminal world, where I would say, yeah, that's where your inalienable rights, that you shouldn't be criminalized for end. And so I think that is a fairly decent explanation of natural rights. And then, of course, like as Stephen points out, God-given, that's completely illogical, I feel like. And yeah, that's the only type of natural rights I think could ever exist, and so forth. And so it's kind of been a rambling video, but that's kind of my head. So yeah. And plus I'm not like this is like, I think I've attempted a bunch of these, but I've never really uploaded any of them. I might end up going back if I find the footage and have the time to upload them all and edit the ones I've made. But yeah, this is gonna be, and I'm gonna try and get a second one in about like free will. So yeah, stay tuned for my next response to rationality rules.